What's up, guys? In this video, I am going to be going over the PBE changes, the potential ones for the 6.9 6.9 cycle. This is also called the mid-season mage update. They're changing mages, ability power items. They're doing some small changes at dragon, a few things with the jungle, Rift Herald, stuff like that. So I'll be going over this stuff. Hopefully you find it useful, entertaining. I don't really give a shit, but let's get going. So Riot posted this picture. Oh shit! This whole stuff about the mid-season magic, and they go over the different champions. You know, the small changes they're making. You can go over this if you want to. It's very nicely laid out. It goes over some of the items. This is a pretty damn good breakdown. But I'm going to kind of explain some of the stuff on the PBE post because it actually has the stats and stuff there. They go over the dragons. They go over the Elder Dragon. This is all new stuff. So, first thing to start off with is these new elemental dragons. So, currently there's one type of dragon, and I'm pretty sure it's this one. Actually, he might be more orange even on live, and he shoots fire. But that's what, now there's 4 different dragons. What's going to happen is these dragons will be random. They'll spawn randomly, but there'll be a little mark, as you see here, depicting which one it's going to be. So you have fire, air, earth, and water. And each dragon's going to give you a different buff. Now, currently on live, the way the dragon buff works is if you kill dragon one time, you get a buff. If you kill dragon a second time, you get an additional buff. You get killed, it keeps going until you get 5 dragon kills, in which case you get this gigantic buff that makes you basically your whole team's just going to raffle stomp the other team. So they're making some changes to that. We'll kind of see how this goes whenever it hits live. Maybe release some videos on PBE. Later, maybe they'll do some scalings. But as of right now, if you kill the fire dragon, another thing to note: these dragons also fight differently. Like the fire dragon's going to do AoE damage like the current one does. It says right here, just like the current dragon. So that's great. They each fight differently, so it'll change how you need to approach the fight prior. Now, when you kill the dragons, the fire dragon says this unit has 8, 16, 24% increased ability power and attack damage. 50% if they have Mark of the Elder Dragon. If you kill 5 if you kill 3 fire dragons, you have 24% increased ability power and attack damage. That's like giving someone a free Rabadons just for having these buffs. That's huge. Now, you're not always going to get 3 fire dragons in a fight, but if you do, then you better believe your teams should be you should probably have won by then. At that point, you're going to be so strong. If you kill a water dragon, you restore missing health and missing mana. It says every 18, 12, and 6. I hope you notice that this is going off of if you have 1 kill, 2 kills, 3 kills. So every 18, 12, 6 seconds, you restore 10% of your missing health and mana. Now, the fire dragon obviously is going to be good for any team because you're going to need extra damage. Everyone needs extra damage. Now, the missing health and mana is really good for, say, poke comps. If you have 3 water dragons and you're playing like a Xerath or a Varus or the manner like that, you're just going to be able to sit back and just keep poking away, and they won't be able to stop you. Now, the only way they can stop you is if maybe they get a water dragon as well. Then they get some health regeneration, which will help kind of counteract that. So water ones obviously can be very good for tanky comps, poke comps, stuff like that. The Earth Dragon, this is actually pretty substantial. You deal 10, 20, 30% additional damage as true damage. Keep that in mind, as true damage to epic monsters and towers. So if you get 3 Earth Dragons, Baron's going to be a piece of cake. Like, you should be able to, like, 2-man that shit, probably. It's going to be so much damage. And you're also going to, like, you can just instantly just kill towers, essentially. You're playing, like, an AD carry or a split pusher. You're just going to be able to go up there and just shred towers. And the Air Dragon, this is pretty interesting. This unit has 15, 30, 45 based on your stacks, obviously. Additional movement speed when you're out of combat. That's pretty substantial for rotations. If you need to get top lane really quick, from mid, you'll be able to go up there. If you have 2 or 3 air dragon kills and the other team has none, they won't be able to catch you. You can disengage and run up there really fast. They will not be able to catch you. So that'll make rotations really, really helpful. Or benefit them, at least. So these spawn in random order. It says you can spawn the same dragon multiple times in a row. And it'll let you know which dragon's spawning next, so you see that. So at 35 minutes, the elemental dragon stops spawning, and then this thing spawns, the elder dragon. This thing's going to be much, much harder to kill, apparently. It won't despawn. It'll also the next spawn will also be an elder dragon. It says grants Mark of the Elder Dragon on to team on whenever you kill it, granting a true damage DOT and buffing elemental dragon marks. So upon dealing damage to non-turrets, this unit deals true damage over 3 seconds. It's just like how the 5th dragon buffs is right now, along with buffing up the other ones that you get. So that's gonna be pretty cool stuff. I'm excited to see how this goes. The dragons look pretty badass, so we'll see how this balances out and how the meta shifts accordingly. So now I'm gonna go over the mages. This is a lot of pretty big stuff. Sorry, got my throat. There's 6 mages that got very large updates, and there's about 8 that got smaller ones. So the 6 that they changed are Brand, Cassiopeia, Malzahar, Vel'Koz, Vladimir, and Zyra. All these changes I think are pretty cool. I'm sure some Brand mains or Vladimir mains might have different opinions, but this is just coming from a guy who doesn't really play any of these champions a whole lot. I play a little bit of Malzahar, but not really the same way that a main would. So Brand's biggest change that I noticed was his new passive. So currently on live, Brand does 8% of your maximum health over 4 seconds on live. Anytime he hits you with an ability. So this is really scary. Really scary whenever you get hit by him and he's just like poking at you. You just lose 8% of your health. It's pretty shitty to play against. When he goes support, like if you get hit by a fucking spell, it just blows. But what they're doing is they're changing it to where it stacks 3 times now. So hits you with his first ability, it does 2% of your maximum health over 4 seconds. That's nothing. Like that's hardly anything at all. So I mean, that is pretty good extra damage. I mean, I'd take that if I was playing Brand, but it's really not that much. On your 3rd stack, however, whenever you reaches max stacks on a champion, the blaze becomes unstable. It basically is a ticking time bomb. So 2 seconds later, it detonates just like a Zillion bomb would. It detonates and does scaling damage. It doesn't have the exact number. It says maybe inaccurate, but it does a scaling damage plus a percentage of everyone's maximum health. Everyone around this target will now take damage, not just the person taking damage originally. So that's pretty scary. I think that sounds pretty awesome. Other than that, they lowered the duration of his stun on his Q. They reduced the damage slightly. They lowered the ratio slightly. His W, they reduced the cooldown, which will help a little bit. It looks like they nerfed almost all of his damage output because this new passive is going to have a lot of his new damage in it. Because currently it's just like he pokes, he hits you with stuff, he blows you up. So this is going to make it to where he's going to be very, very scary if a team is grouped up. He's constantly going to be just dishing out lots of damage just constantly to grouped up teams. And I noticed his ultimate got changed slightly. The damage got lowered a bit, the AP ratio got lowered a little bit. But what it's going to do now is it's going to bounce and slow targets, which is substantial. And it's also going to prioritize targets that have stacks on them. So if you think about it, if there's just 2 people with stacks on them, it's going to bounce back and forth between those 2 targets and just keep shredding, just keep hurting them over and over and over again. So that's pretty cool. That's a much healthier, I think, version of Brand than the one that's on live. I think this will be more fun to play, better to play against, because the current one is just, if this Brand lands like 3 abilities on you, then you just fucking hate yourself. So this new one, you need to understand, like, don't stand next to your teammates whenever you get a 3rd stack. That's gonna suck dick. So, just be careful with that. But those are the Brand changes. There's some video here, you can watch that if you want to later. Cassiopeia is getting some pretty cool changes. I like where they're going with her. I talked to Tyler about it already, but we'll see what they got here. So her new passive is completely reworked. So whatever her old passive was, who gives a shit now? It was like a stacking thing that gave her more ability power and stuff. So the current one is it gains 4 movement speed every level, and she can't buy boots. So it says right here her movement speed changed to 328 from 335. So at level 1, she's going to have 332 because you get the 4 bonus from level 1. So after doing some calculations on this, obviously buying boots you don't do very early on very many champions. So really, this doesn't impact you that much during the game at all. The only thing that's going to impact is it's going to take you a longer time to get a lot of movement speed. So say you buy your first item, and then like say whatever you bought Cassiopeia's first item. The next item you buy is Boots of Swiftness. Boots of Swiftness are going to give you 60 movement speed, boosting her previous movement speed up to 395, which is a lot. So you can get up to that amount, but you have to be level 18, which is obviously way further down the road. When you get your Swiftness boots, if you bought them, I mean, I'd buy probably Sorcerer shoes on Cassiopeia personally, but I have no idea. I don't play her, so I'm not sure. But you'll get the Boots of Swiftness at level 18, basically the equivalent. You'll have about 390, which is a lot. The thing about that is, you never had to buy boots, so you're constantly gaining movement speed, so you're constantly getting faster. You're not super fast right when everyone else is getting their boots, and there's ways to work around that. But at level 18, your max build is going to include another AP item. She's going to have so much damage output, it's going to be ridiculous. So her late game is going to get even scarier. Her Q isn't getting a lot of changes. Its cooldown's lowered a little bit. That's really nice. The damage is increased quite a bit, actually. The AP ratio is much higher now, from 0.7 to the previous 0.45. And then the movement speed she gets from landing it is being increased per level, which is nice. So not much changes there. So she still wants to land this Q as much as possible so she can hit you with her E and do lots of damage. Her W got a big change. So currently on live, her W, she throws it to one little spot. As you can see on here, she would throw one of these on the ground. If you stepped in it, it would slow you, poison you, blah, blah, blah. It was basically like an Anivia ultimate, and it was pretty fucking worthless. Like, it was helpful in a team fight if like a bunch of people walked through it, but everyone just avoided it. It was stupid. So now she's going to have this big old arc of poison on the ground. Big old poison thing on the ground. If you step in this, it's going to slow you, which is understandable. You also can't use movement abilities while in it. So I know on the preview they showed Vi trying to walk past it with her charge, and it didn't work. So you won't be able to use movement abilities while you're standing in it, which is pretty badass. So that's going to help her out a lot with escapes, with people trying to escape from her, etc. It's going to be able to wall off. So basically, if someone wants to go, say if she's chasing someone and they want to go this direction, they're going to have to touch this. They have to. So she's going to land a poison on them instantly. Previously, you could get away from Cassiopeia simply by walking away from her and just not getting poisoned, and she couldn't kill you. It was really, really easy. So this is going to make it a lot harder to get away from her, especially because if she lands a Q, she gets a lot of movement speed. Now you're slow, and now she's going to keep hitting you with her Twin Fang constantly. Speaking of her Twin Fang, her next ability, this got changed a little bit. Not a ton. Basically what the previous one was is it had like a 5-second cooldown, and now it's like less than a second. That's pretty good. Previously, if you hit a poison target, it would reset the cooldown, and you would keep using it. Whatever. Now it's always going to be low cooldown. But if they're not poisoned, it does jack shit for damage. Like, if you only want to use it if someone's poisoned. It's a lot like Anivia's E. I only want to use Anivia's E whenever I chill someone, because then it'll actually do damage. Otherwise, it's going to hit like a peanut, and then they're just going to laugh at you. But there's no hurt in using it, almost like an auto attack. If you have the mana for it, and you want to last hit a minion, do it, because it refunds the mana cost now. But if you're fighting a champion, you're not getting that mana back, so you don't want to be spamming this shit constantly unless they're poisoned, because you're going to run out of mana, and you're not going to do a lot of damage. So that's where her Twin Fang's going. And then it also gives her a little bit of a heal whenever she hits a poison target. So there's that. Her ult, basically the exact same. So nothing to see there. Malzahar. So I like this guy a lot. He's pretty cool. I'm actually going to increase this size a little bit so we can maybe read some stuff a little bit better. So Malzahar's passive, his new passive is pretty cool. His previous passive was the Void Spawn. Basically what they did, they moved Malzahar's old passive to his W, which he can now activate. They moved his old W to his ultimate. So now his ultimate is his previous ultimate and his old W at once. So it's going to be pretty awesome. His new passive is so cool. So whenever he doesn't take damage for, it says 24 seconds, down to 6 seconds. They haven't tested this all out yet, whatever. But he gains 90% damage reduction and crowd control immunity that lingers for 1 second after taking damage or blocking crowd control effect. That's going to make him extremely horrifying. If you see him charging at you, you want to pop it, almost like if someone had a Banshee's Veil. If someone coming at you with a Banshee's Veil, you want to waste a spell on it to get rid of it so that the next time he comes at you, you can do something about it. But right now, he's just going to keep coming at you. He's going to like land his ultimate. There was Voidlings on the ground. He's going to try to kill you. You need to get rid of this passive so that he's less horrifying. I think it's pretty cool. It's very nice to his kit of him being like this void controller. You know, this badass sorcerer or whatever. His Q hasn't changed. There's some scaling things on here. I'm not going to go over that. That's kind of not really important. His new W is so cool. So it's a pretty long cooldown, but the Voidlings last for quite a while. So what happens is he'll drop a Voidling on the ground somewhere next to him. These Voidlings will just attack shit, just whatever. They'll attack things, whatever. If they attack a large monster, so he's going to be really good at jungling, or a champion, every time that it attacks, it spawns another one. I think it goes up to like 4 or 5, something like that. Where there's a crap load of them. And if there's 3, then they get 100% attack speed. So these things will start absolutely demolishing your health bar if you let them stay on you. So the best thing to do probably is to either get away or kill them. You know, they're not that strong. So just manage with that. But this is gonna be a really cool ability. I'm glad they're giving his Voidlings more of his kit because it was really, really pain in the ass. Whenever you would, like I played AD Malzahar, and so the Voidlings were like the entire purpose of playing AD Malzahar, and it's a passive. The only thing that makes it good. So it was kind of stupid. But this is going to be really cool. I like his new W. His E hasn't changed. The duration now it refreshes if Malzahar uses a Q or R on a target. That's really big. So if you use your Malefic Visions on somebody and then hit him with a Q, it'll keep going. So the space aids will keep getting even aidzier. That's going to be awesome. His ultimate, like I said, it just puts a little puddle underneath him along with suppressing him. So it's just going to, do a little bit of damage to everyone else around him, which will be kind of cool. Vel'Koz. All right, so this guy got some big-ass changes too. First off, his passive got kind of reworked. It's very similar to his old passive, but it changed in a couple of ways. So previously, he would hit you with 3 abilities, and then for a couple seconds after that, he would do true damage to you with his abilities. The problems with this are he has to land 3 abilities, so what else is he has to use his ultimate basically after that even do any damage to you. If he uses one ability and then maybe his W whatever, all of a sudden he has one more ability to hit you with true damage or his ultimate. That's all he had as options, which is stupid because then it's like, oh, you have true damage now. Oh, you can't use anything. How worthless. So now they're making it to where after he gets 3 stacks, it just does true damage. That's really cool. That's going to add a little bit of extra burst. The scaling has a pretty nice AP scaling, 0.4, and then 25 plus 10 per level. That's awesome. That's going to be quite a bit of extra damage, especially if you're running like Thunderlords or something like that with this. That's going to be horrifying because Thunderlords is also every 3 attacks. So if you land 3 attacks on somebody, this is going to trigger. So is Thunderlords. They're going to take a lot of burst damage. His Q is basically the same, but now the target indicator is only visible to Vel'Koz. I don't see how that's fucking fair. Like, you can't. I mean, it's fine. It's like because Anivia is getting an indicator that everyone can see, and his is getting taken away. So I'm a little salty towards that, but I'm sure that might be a good thing. We'll see if that sticks or not. His W hasn't really changed. It got reduced damage, probably because the new passive is going to do a shitload of damage, and since you can get two passive knocks out, two passives out of your W, that's pretty good reason why it got reduced that much. His E also got nerfed. Whatever. His new ultimate. This is what I thought was really, really scary. So his ultimate is, when you think of Vel'Koz, you think of his ultimate. You think of this gigantic, stupid ass laser called the Life Form Disintegration Ray that just absolutely kills your entire team. Previously, the only way this thing really did a lot of damage is it always did a lot of damage because it would build stacks on you. So if he hits you for more than like a second and a half, he was doing true damage to you with his ultimate. It would just shred your entire health bar. So now it's getting a little bit different. It doesn't build stacks anymore. But if you read how the passive works, his basic abilities apply organic destruction. It lasts for 7 seconds. Basic attacks refresh deconstruction. So whenever you're like level 1 or 2, you hit him with an ability, make sure you auto attack him to make sure you keep this thing refreshed. It's kind of like how Draven is with his axes. If you don't throw the axe after a while, you lose the buff. So he's kind of like the opposite. It's like if you don't auto attack him for a while, you lose their debuff, which you want it because it's going to give you more damage output. So your third hit deconstructs them. So after your third hit, they get this deconstruction. Okay. Deconstructing enemies researches them for 7 seconds. Basic attacks and all abilities refresh research. So if you don't have your ultimate, you have them researched, keep auto-attacking them. Keep hitting them with spells. Do what you can to keep them researched. Because if they're researched, your ult now does true damage immediately. True damage. And it's on there for 7 seconds, which is way longer than your ultimate. So this is going to do a crap load of damage. Look at the scaling. It was previously 900 max rank, 900 plus 0.6 ability power. That's pretty good. Now it's 1,000 plus 1 ability power scaling. That's retardedly powerful. If you have someone researched and you use your ultimate, that's probably going to be a one-shot unless they flash or juke you or something, or you just flat out miss. That's going to do so much damn damage. On top of that, that's going to make support Vel'Koz really, really, really scary because he doesn't have to build any ability power now. I mean, obviously, if he does, he does more damage, but shit, that's just flat out true damage, and you get a little bit of AP scaling and over 1,000 damage. That's a ton. That's going to be incredible. He was already a support, and it did 900 plus 0.6. Now it's 1,000 plus 1. That's a lot. Cooldown was lowered. Crazy, it's going to be really cool. I'm glad that they made his ultimate really scary, because as of right now, he's essentially worthless outside of the support role. So this should make him a pretty good mage, because it's basically going to be like, oh, how much ability power does he have? Oh, like 700? Yeah, let's not stand near him, or make sure you kill him instantly, or else our whole team's going to die. So, there's that. Next one, Vladimir. Vladimir got some good changes. I say that, I think they're pretty good. His Q now has a little bit extra effect to it. So after you cast Q twice, he gets this buff. The next time he can cast his Q again. And it deals extra damage, heals for extra amount of his missing health. And that's, it's just nice little more sustained for him. His W literally got no changes. It doesn't need to, because it's fine the way it is. So his new Tides of Blood. Previously, you had to constantly stack E to push E, push E, push E, even if you weren't in combat, to make sure it was at max stacks. So now it's going to work like an AoE version of Varus's Q or Xerath's Q. You're going to charge it up, and it's going to do extra damage. It's going to cost him more health, and it's going to slow people. Should be pretty cool. It's going to make him a little bit more useful as a battle mage, because he'll actually have a slow, as opposed to relying on Rylai's Crystal Scepter to get some slows going in. Because as of right now, everything else is basically the same, and it's just like, oh, hey, let's give him this, this new cool E. That should be pretty helpful. So we'll see how that is. And his new ultimate's pretty awesome. It's basically the exact same, except it now heals him for how many people he hits, which is going to be really, really good for him to dive into their team, use his ultimate, get a lot of health back. That's going to be, it's going to be really nice for him. Last one, Zyra. Zyra got a lot of really interesting changes. So basically, the biggest change I noticed was that seeds will just randomly spawn around her. And so they last for a while, and they'll just randomly spawn. They'll like as you're walking, they'll randomly spawn. She still has her seed that she can place down, whenever she wants to, but now she also spawns them randomly, which is crazy. Her new Q got reworked a little bit. So previously it would be a circle. It would be like just one of these things, but it was probably about 2 of them actually. And you would just come up and it would hit people. That's all it did. So now it's this big old long ability. Mana cost was greatly reduced. Its damage was reduced slightly, and it's now rectangular instead of being a giant circle. So probably easier to hit with, I'm guessing, which will be nice. Her W is her C that she can put down. Her E didn't really have any changes. The ultimate's kind of an interesting change. It increases damage of plants within the thicket by 150% rather than just increasing their attack speed. So what makes that scary is that previously, if they had a high attack speed, if you got away from them, they still wouldn't hit you, so it didn't matter. But now if they hit you once or twice, it's going to do a lot more damage. So that's pretty cool. These are going to be some small changes. I don't really want to get into a lot of these. Anivia's getting some stuff switched around. Her ultimate's going to be pretty cool now. It's going to grow in size and get an increased slow, which is going to be really helpful for crowd control. So I'm happy about that. Annie's big change is Tibbers is now going to be horrifying. He's going to like maul targets whenever he's summoned, whenever Annie dies, or whenever Annie stuns a target with her passive. So that's cool. It sounds like Tibbers is going to be a gigantic asshole to deal with. So that'll be fun. Fiddlesticks got a pretty cool new passive. Whenever he stands still for 1.5 seconds, he gets bonus movement speed. So whenever he's channeling his ultimate, he'll be standing still for 1.5 seconds. Then he uses it, and then all of a sudden now he's fast as shit. So it'll be really helpful for Fiddlesticks because he is a very fast champion. This will be really helpful for his kit. I think it's a good way to go. Hopefully we'll see more Fiddlesticks. I personally love him in the jungle. I think he was a very niche pick in most situations, but no one picked him anymore because the way the jungle items kind of transferred, they kind of stopped playing him, which is shitty, but whatever. Swain got a pretty interesting change. His Q, previously you would just put it on a target, and it would just hit the target over time, whatever. And it was kind of really boring to use. Now you're going to put the crow in a location, and it'll shoot stuff that it gets close to. Very similar to Zyra's plants. It'll shoot stuff that gets close to it, whatever, which is going to be an interesting change. And I think the middle a couple changes to his ultimate. Syndra got kind of the same thing that Zyra got. She now randomly spawns orbs. I don't know what to think about that. I think it's making her too easy to play. The thing about Syndra that's kind of nice is that she is very challenging to play, and it's very rewarding when you get off a really cool ultimate of like 6+ orbs. Well, now you're just going to be spawning these things constantly, so getting these giant ultimates off isn't going to be that hard anymore. It's going to basically turn her into a Viger. She's going to be really useful for her ultimate, and I feel like that's going to be it. Like, she's going to get really easy ultimates off, and it's just going to kill a target, and that's what's going to happen. Viger got some reworks. His passive, instead of just getting bonus ability power whenever you kill minions, it now gets it whenever he also hits champions. So that's kind of cool. His ultimate got changed. I actually don't know what to think about this. So previously, Viger was a mage killer. Now he's going to do damage according to missing health instead of how much ability power they have. So, we'll see how much it's going to do. It's going to do more damage than the previous one. Obviously, the target's without ability power, but I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. So Xerath got pretty cool changes its ultimate. I already showed the video about how it increases in the camera zooms out whenever Jhin ults. So Xerath gets the same kind of treatment now. And if you hit targets, you get more shots, I think. You get 5 shots instead of 3, so that's kind of cool. The damage is obviously lower though, because I mean, shit, 5 shots for 300 is quite a bit. Ziggs, he got it changed where now his satchel charge destroys turrets that are under so much health, 35% max rank. That's really scary. He's gonna be a really good split pusher. If if you let him get up there with like a wave of minions and you don't stop him, he's just gonna start executing these towers just left and right. You'll show this little indicator over the tower, so that's kind of cool. Malzahar's new splash art looks pretty badass. His new model, and they just kind of reworked the color of it to match his new splash art. I think it looks badass. Zyra got really cool new texture update. Looks very nice. It looks a lot like how she does in the cinematic, which is very, very cool. I like what they did with that. They got some new ability icons, lots of different champions, blah, blah, blah. Rift Herald is going to change slightly. It's not that big of a deal. Basically, it's going to be a super buff instead of just being like a random-ass Baron buff. Now, whoever has it's going to be really scary for a very long time. Blue buff's getting some changes. Red buff's getting some changes. These camp respawn timers are going to be there. Just, that didn't really help a lot. Anytime that blue buff or red buff's about to respawn, it's going to show up on the minimap. So you'll know if it's coming up. Even if you didn't have access to it originally, you'll know when it's coming back up. So, you know, ward up, prepare for a counter, or an invade or something. Get ready to counter it. Don't really know what to tell you about that. I don't really like this. I think that's kind of shitty. The thing about being a jungler is being smart and fucking with the other team. You know, and taking their shit whenever they're least expecting it. But now everyone's gonna fucking know. Like, you don't have to be good anymore. You just kind of go like, oh, this is up. Let me go try to get it. While they're like, oh, it's coming up. Let me go get it. Like, you're gonna have the exact same timer on it. So, I don't know. It might be a good change. I don't like it though, personally. Kennen got some changes. They're not that important. All right, items. Here we go. So, I'll go over a couple of these. The big changes. Abyssal Scepter, increasing cost, gets some CDR now, and its MR scales with level. That's all it does. Archangel Staff, its Tear the Goddess got changed slightly. Instead of giving mana back, it now it gives you a percentage of the mana you spent back. So it's basically going to make your spellcast more efficient, which is kind of nice, but you won't get the mana regeneration. So that's the change of Tear the Goddess, which then also changes the Seraphs, or Archangel Staff, which turns into Seraphs. Athenes, this is kind of an interesting change. So same thing here. I might as well just go over the intermediate items first. So where was the Tear the Goddess? Where the fuck was it? Why did they organize it like this? They're like at the very fucking bottom. Seraphs was on there twice. Why? Okay. So alright, here, Tear the Goddess. Mana regen removed. Now refunds mana spent. Cool. That's nice, right? Other intermediate items. What we got? Lost Chapters. This is a new item. This is kind of cool. So whenever you level up, it restores 20% of your maximum mana. So that's basically the same that the Catalyst, the Protector, has on live right now. Catalyst restores a big portion of your health and mana over a duration after you level up. So that's what this is basically doing. But instead of giving you health, it gives you ability power and mana, and then just gives you mana back. So it's going to be really, really good for mages that build Morellos, which I'm sure a lot of them are going to do now, because that sounds really good. Especially for the laning phase, having mana constantly is going to be fantastic. Hextech Revolver didn't really get much change. It removed the Spell Vamp, which is, because they're removing Spell Vamp entirely from the game, so it got removed. And they basically gave it a mini Hextech Gunblade active, which is going to be really cool. I think that's going to be a good first item for a lot of champions. Just because that, or manaless champions, I guess you could say. Like Kennen might build this. That's going to be pretty nice to have an active. Every 40 seconds you get additional damage. That's doesn't seem like much, but that can whittle someone down really easily. Other intermediate items, let's see here. Phoenix Codex didn't really get a lot of change. So Chalice of Harmony. So this is another pretty big one. So currently on live, it costs 1,000. They're reducing it down to 900. It gives you magic resist, mana regeneration. Its unique passive currently is that you just get a shitload of mana regeneration whenever you have low mana, which is nice. They're changing it now to where it says increases base health regeneration by 100% if your health is lower than your mana, and vice versa. So this is going to be insane for sustainability. If you have a lot of health and you waste a lot of mana, all of a sudden your mana refills really quickly. If you just take a lot of poke damage and you didn't get off any spells, your health's going to start refreshing very quickly. So I think this will be a pretty cool item. And then the other intermediate item, Catalyst, is now getting renamed to Catalyst of Aeons from Catalyst the Protector. It no longer does the level up bonus health and mana. It now basically says 15% of damage taken from champions is gained as mana. That's pretty cool, especially if you're spending mana to do that. You get some mana back. And then spending mana restores 20% the cost as health. Hey, or sorry, I misread that. So the damage taken from champions. So if you're getting hit, you get mana. That's cool. If you spend mana, you get health. So, you know, see how that works? You take damage, you get some mana. You spend the mana, you get health back. So you're going to be really, really gigantic pain in the ass to get out of lane. You're just going to keep taking damage, get your mana back. Spend the mana, get your health back. It's just going to keep repeating. So that'll be cool. So now going over the actual items. So Archangel Staff obviously builds from tier. So it has the whole mana passive change. Fiends. So the thing with Fiends, since the passive from Chalice has changed, Fiends is not really going to be that good on like Xerath, Anivia, Ziggs, those poke champions that just wanted a shitload of mana sustain. What it's going to do is it's going to make these support mages, like Lulu, Orianna could use it, Kayle, anyone that has a heal or a shield, it's going to be really good on. Damage you do, basically it's stored as blood charges. Whenever you heal or shield someone now, it's going to heal them more. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be like, I feel like it's going to be an instant buy on Lulu like every fucking game. That seems like a no-brainer since she has a really good shield, and it's going to make her mana regeneration really, really good. But it's not going to be you can't build on champions that don't have shields or heals because you're losing an entire passive, so it makes it very cost inefficient. Banshees is getting a small change. It's mostly just number stuff. Let's see here. The new Blood Razor, this is replacing Devourer. Basic attacks deal percentage of max health on hit. It's pretty cool. I actually really like this item. I think it's going to be pretty balanced. Thank God Devourer's gone. That fucking item's stupid as shit. Oh, I say Devourer's gone. The Devourer effect's getting switched to the Rage Blade right here. It won't have the AoE effect anymore, but it will have the Devourer effect. I'm fine with that. I think Rage Blade was pretty broken when they changed it. We'll see how this goes. This might be also pretty broken, but it's going to make champions like Master Yi, who want that effect, not have to jungle anymore, because you're going to get this item you can use for laning now instead of having to fucking stack up in the jungle, AFK farm for 20 goddamn minutes before you can actually help your team out. So maybe this will make some champions actually useful. I see Kayle probably getting this and being absolutely horrifying, but, you know, we'll see. Let's see here. So the Hextech items, these got some cool changes. There's 3 of them. So there's the Ice one, which builds out of Catalyst. So it gives you health and mana. It has the same Catalyst effect. And then it has a Frostbolt active that slows people. Literally all it does. All these Hextech items are going to have 2 things. Whatever the intermediate item is, plus the Revolver, it's going to have that kind of effect, plus an active. The Frost one is going to slow people, obviously. The Fire one does an AoE. The Lightning one, which is the Gunblade, does a lot of damage to one target. So here's the Frost one. Health, mana, lots of ability power, Catalyst, sustainability, Frostbolt active. Gunblade. Attack damage and ability power, because it builds with Cutlass. Heals for damage dealt, because it's built out of a lifesteal item. It has the effect of the intermediate item. Lightning Bolt deals damage to one target and slows him. Pretty standard stuff. I like Gunblade a lot. Not a lot of champions build it because they can't use it very well, because it's the whole hybrid thing. But it's pretty good. Then the Fire Hextech one builds out of Kindle Gem. Guess what it's going to give you? Oh shit! Look, it gives you health and cooldown. Wow, it's who would have thought? The cool thing about this active is not only does it give you an AOE, but it lets you dash forward. So mobile champions like Brand, if he wanted to build this, I mean, I don't know if he wants to or not, just saying hypothetically, he doesn't have a dash. So now he does if he wants to build this. This is going to be really cool for I'm sure it won't be in like everyone's required kit, but it will be a pretty cool item to have. I mean, and the 40-second cooldown, I hope they make that longer, because 40 seconds for a dash, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that's pretty substantial to have that up just constantly. So we'll see how that goes. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of changes. They changed Merc's Scimitar just slightly. It's just all number stuff. Mikhail's Crucible, same thing. It just changed the passive because of the chalice changed. Everything else is basically the same. Personally, I think that this is going to be this item. The fact that this chalice is changing, I think it's going to make Anivia support viable because of the way her new ultimate works, and I'm kind of excited. So we'll see. Morello's, obviously it builds out of Lost Chapter now, so it has that effect, and it's going to be a really, really strong item. It's very strong. 100 ability power, 400 mana, 20 CDR. Who doesn't want these stats? Like, seriously, that's just so strong. Magic damage deals grievous wounds, kills and assists restore 20% of your maximum mana. This is going to be the bread and butter starting item for so many mages, I bet. It's such a strong fucking item. So, yeah, we'll see. Other than that, Righteous... Okay, I'll forget about this one. Righteous Glory, obviously, it's small changes because Catalyst is different. So, obviously, Righteous Glory has to change because Catalyst changed. But the big one, Rod of Ages, this is getting a big change. So, currently, Rod of Ages is, if you build it first. And the reason is because you need to stack up to make it really powerful. Fortunately, it's really, 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 really powerful. It's way too strong. But it also is a pain in the ass because you have to wait before it gets there. So right now, you get like this insane amount of health, this insane amount of mana, and then you just have this ridiculous sustainability. So they're reducing the cost, they're lowering the mana you get, they're lowering the ability power you get, they're lowering the stacks, but it's going to give you the new Catalyst active, which honestly makes sense, and I'm glad they're doing this because it's 500 less. That's awesome. It's going to be a lot cheaper to build. I mean, it only takes 450 to it takes really? Okay. It takes 450 to upgrade it once you get this. It's really nice, actually. So, I mean, it's not going to give you all the gigantic amount of raw stats, but if you're playing someone like Swain, or, I don't know, whatever champion wants to build Rod now, that's going to be really helpful for lane sustainability. That's going to be really good. So I'm glad they're changing this a little bit. Also because it makes champions buy other items that are like, this might not work out for me as much as it did before. Because previously, like, literally any mage could build Rod of Ages, and it would probably honestly work. Because it just gives you a shitload of health, a shitload of mana, a shitload of ability power, and lane sustainability. So who wouldn't want that? So we'll see how that goes. Everything else is pretty much just small changes here and there. Nothing really big. You can look at it yourself if you want to. Oh, and then the key difference of this patch that's making everything nutso. Pink wards only have 4 charges instead of 5 now. Oh my god. What shall we fucking do? That's ridiculous. Anyway. So that's the PBE. It's a pretty long video. It's almost 45 minutes long. If you got through the whole thing, you must have been super bored, and I applaud you. But hopefully it was helpful. And have a good